If you needed any more proof that the Catholic Church still doesn't get it when it comes to sexual violence by priests, Pope Emeritus Benedict has returned to serve. As you may have seen, he published a 6,000-word essay blaming not the hundreds of priests who preyed on young children, nuns, and others, nor the many bishops, cardinals, and others who helped cover up their crimes, but instead he blames the crisis on the, quote, absence of God and all-out sexual freedom of the 1960s. Yes, after 6+ years of relative silence, this is what the former pope brings us, a claim that sex education is to blame for decades of abuse and cover-ups. This from the man who once oversaw the office that handled these abuse cases. And it gets worse. The 91-year-old goes on to claim that what he calls homosexual cliques were established in various seminaries during the 60s, which, quote, changed the climate. Not only is that claim beyond offensive to the LGBTQ+ community, but it also ignores the fact that some 30% of church abuse survivors are women who have been preyed upon by a male superior. But wait, there's more. Benedict also wrote that, quote, part of the physiognomy of the revolution of '68 was that pedophilia was diagnosed as allowed and appropriate. Really? Blaming homosexuality in the hippie era for all the church has perpetrated and permitted is not just insulting, it is immoral. Unless you think Benedict went rogue and put this out on his own, think again. According to his letter, he contacted both the Vatican Secretary of State and his successor, Pope Francis, before he put this out in the world. That's the same Pope Francis who said this at his big sex abuse summit.
The holy people of God are looking at us and expect of us not simple condemnation, but concrete and effective measures to put in place. We need to be concrete.
Yeah, concrete and effective, like maybe burning letters like these instead of giving the go-ahead for publication. We called Mitchell Garabedian, an attorney for hundreds, if not thousands, of abuse survivors here in Boston, for a response. And he said, in part, the blueprint from the Catholic Church in dealing with clergy sexual abuse calls for the Church to portray itself as the victim, instead of admitting the gross failings of the Catholic Church when it comes to the wholesale sexual abuse of children by priests and complicit supervisors. Pope Benedict is offering a distraction to society. He has towed the company line, and that company is morally bankrupt. And as for how the survivors he represents are doing, Garabedian said they've expressed that the comments by Pope Benedict just support the view that the Church doesn't care and does not appropriately self-police. You know, it's been said 100 times over, but those survivors are right. And for those hoping that 2 popes might be better than 1, they are not. They are simply more of the same.